Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Biz Talks. My name is Rick Gutierrez. I am your host and your business advocate. It is an amazing week. We have an amazing show for you this week. We've got a great lineup of business professionals, business owners that have been in business for quite some time, and they're going to be sharing their expertise, their knowledge, and they're also going to be, telling us a little bit more about their business so that we can get in contact with them and potentially do business with them. So I'm really excited for our next guest because she is an amazing entrepreneur. It's been in business for quite some time. She's been there, she's done that, but not only that, she's been helping a tremendous amount of business professionals, business owners take their business to the next level from startup all the way to very successful businesses. So I'd like to introduce Ms. Jen Potter. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you. I know this is our first time having a conversation on an actual interview. We've spoken behind the scenes a little bit. I'm really impressed by the years of experience that you have in helping business professionals from startup all the way to becoming really successful businesses. But you are a business owner yourself, so this is the space where I get to give you, where you get to showcase everything about you, your business, your expertise. Just tell us what you do and what your business does.
So what I do is a lot, right? Just like you said, I help lots of people with their businesses. That's one of the businesses that I have. So that would be my consulting company. So through my consulting company, Epic 47, I help other businesses, like you said, from startup all the way, several years seasoned in business to help them either change or evolve and just continue to grow so they continue to be profitable. I also have a professional babysitting and nannying agency. So that's something that was one of my biggest businesses that I started right out the gate. I had about 100 employees in the first year that I started that company, and it kind of grew very, very quickly. And it grew during COVID, which was pretty amazing. And from there, I started a cleaning company. And then that really evolved and that really grew. It actually grew bigger than a sitting company, and I never expected that to happen. So I started growing all of these businesses, and I started several businesses before that were a little bit smaller. They were kind of like my side hustle business. But I started to educate myself and really get into the nitty gritty in business because I realized a business is a business. And that's when I started my consulting company, and I just started to kind of grow from there. And I am the CEO of a nonprofit on top of all of the businesses that I own.
Wow.
And I do have two other businesses that I recently just started at, just recently, and that are both in NDAs.
Fantastic. So Epic 47 Consulting, you said a little while ago you've been in business maybe a little bit over 7 years, perhaps a little bit more, but you've been in business owner for, I guess, 15 or 15 plus years, which
Yeah.
gives
Yep.
you, in my opinion, that makes you a subject matter expert in your field. So you are the right person that we need to, discover a couple of things for those that are watching that are potentially thinking about getting into business or starting a business. You're also the CEO of a nonprofit you just mentioned, so those that are thinking about starting nonprofits could potentially learn from you as well. So, but first is
Absolutely.
first, we used that moment to kind of like get to know Jen. It was a get to know Jen moment for a second, but in order for our viewers to really get a better understanding as to who is Jen and more importantly, why get into business. I'd like to tell people business is not for everyone. It's not for the faint of heart, right? But it is for those that are passionate and that are willing to go through the dinges and get dirty and get it done, right? So tell us why you decided to go into business. Why did you decide to start and help, not only start your business, but also help others take their business to the next level?
I think I went into business because for me, I've always had this passion and drive for leading other people. Ever since I was young, I started working at 13. And as I started working from a very young age, leadership was something that came very natural to me. I really, understood the process of, workers and management. I understood how people worked and their personalities, and that came very, very easy for me. I would like to think I'm very easy to work with because I understand how people work. And as I started getting older and working for other people, I was realizing, oh, I'm making a lot of other people a lot of money. And I worked for a consulting company, and I realized all the hard work that I did and all the money that I could potentially make. And it was a no-brainer for me. And it was, how do I do this as little as possible? And I started well, it wasn't my first business. I think it was my third business, but my first bigger business with $500. And I said, I am going to prove to myself that I can start this business and make it successful, feasible, and sustainable, and really grow it right from the ground up with not a lot of money. And every business I've started with zero capital.
Yep, and I can definitely relate because when I first started my business back in 2013, I didn't start it with zero capital, but I did have $256 to start my business. And that's the reason why I say it's not for everyone, it's not for the faint of heart. So it's for people that are passionate and willing to go and get the job done and just stay focused and motivated, even through the harder times, right? There's something within your company name that really stood out to me, and it's a philosophy and a mission that you have is to help 47 businesses through 2047, right? So let's talk a little bit more about that. What drove you to have that initiative?
So it actually started as a joke, uh, because when I was starting the consulting company, I'm like, I want to help all the people, and anyone who knows me, I am willing to help anybody. But I was creating my mission statement, and I was trying to figure out, how could I make a big impact? And, obviously the word epic is, for me, go big or go home. And down in Texas, I know you guys can relate. Up here in Mass, I just wish I was from Texas. Everything's bigger. But for me, it was, if I can help 47 people have successful businesses, I know that if they turn around and have an impact on somebody else, that's now all of these additional people that are going to continue to grow and evolve and really help other people as well. So it's not just me. I do a lot of things pro bono, and that's how I started a lot of my business coaching. It was pro bono and it was helping people. And just recently, somebody just closed on a $750,000 deal, closing out their business. She was filing for bankruptcy, and a national company actually just bought the company out. So it was really, really cool to kind of take someone who was going through something so awful, and now she has all of this money. And it's not a crazy amount of money, but for someone who is filing bankruptcy, it was a pretty big change for them. So when I do things like that, I'm like, okay, I know I'm making a difference. I know I'm helping to change people's lives. And that person has since turned around and has been helping other people as well. So it's really cool to see.
Absolutely. I mean, every time that we get the opportunity to help others succeed and watching them, they're watching their business flourish and all of the things that they can achieve because of their business being great now. And it's all because, those nuggets of, information or education that you provided for them that was able to unlock a lot of things. And sometimes unlocking some of those things have to do with maybe coaching those business owners to get out of their own way, potentially
Absolutely.
delegate some things and not have to do everything, right? So that is something that I had to learn on my own. Jen, I keep going over
Same.
yeah, I keep going over your resume, and I'm just continuing to be impressed because not only are you a business owner, not only are you helping others, but you are a motivational speaker and an author as well.
Correct.
So
Correct.
tell us about your personal journey as how you overcome a lot of those challenges as a new business owner. I mean, what motivated you to go through all of this to the point where you are now, being successful yourself and helping others as well?
That's a great question. And, for me, it's kind of a twofold. You said business isn't for the faint of heart. I actually have two heart conditions, and I actually have to have a heart procedure coming up over the, course of the year. And, I tell everybody all the time, I'm like, it's because I have such a big giving heart, and, with other people in business, it's why I have a heart condition. But all jokes aside, you know, I grew up in a very poor, family. We didn't have a lot of money. My dad was a super hard worker. He was always a business owner, but he struggled a lot. My dad did struggle a lot. He didn't have mentorship. He didn't go to college. He didn't have anyone to guide him. He kind of, just grind, hustled, and did whatever it took to survive and provide for his family. And he did an amazing job, but he also wasn't really good at it. And, which is kind of contradictory, but he tried and tried and tried, but just didn't have the tools in his toolbox in order to create a bigger business and create something more sustainable and more feasible. And when I look at that and I think of all the hard work that my dad did, I wanted to figure out how, if I have his gene, if I have that motivation to run a business, I know it runs in my family. How can I make it sustainable? How can I make it profitable? How can I make it different so my kids don't live the same life that I lived when I grew up? And so that's kind of been my mentality as I kind of go through it. And it's been a really hard journey. Anyone who's in business, you have to go through a lot, and financial things are super big. I didn't pay myself for a really long time because I invested all of my energy in other people. I don't regret it for 1 minute. I went and I took out a loan to pay for somebody's salary for the year, and I wasn't even paying myself, but I knew that if I did it, I was investing in my company and the growth of the company. And so to take chances like that, it takes either someone who's absolutely crazy, or someone who knows that you're going to grow and you're going to succeed. Because it's, when I get it, sometimes I'm like, damn, what was I thinking when I did that? And like you said, we had to learn these things as we were kind of growing, but at the same time, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't have never knew how to teach other people what not to do.
Exactly. And I chuckled there for a little bit because I mean we're being serious when we say it's not for the faint of heart. Sometimes you do have to you make those decisions, and you're going to have to work your butt off to make that work, right? And you don't necessarily know all of the pieces to the puzzle just yet, but you know that if you just keep going, you're going to discover what those pieces are and what those next steps are. And that's the reason why those that are able to go through that and finally succeed, end up having a great story. So I'm hopeful that you are able to have or continue this conversation, maybe on another segment and whatnot, because it's amazing how time flies, because we've run out of time for this particular segment. But I do definitely want to have you back and have a continued conversation, if you don't mind, Jen. But before we go, I do want to give you a space for you to showcase how can our viewers get in touch with you, how can they get a hold of you so that they can potentially do business with you.
Absolutely. So the best way to look for me is if you Google Jen, Live Your Best Life. It will come up on every SEO. It will show up as Epic 47. It will show up as my personal brand as well. I have all different social media, and because I own so many different businesses, but if you look at Jen, Live Your Best Life, Jen with one N, it will show up for you.
All
That's
right,
the easiest.
fantastic. Fantastic, that's awesome. Jen, thank you for being on the show. Once again, kudos to you for all your success and for helping others along the way as well. That is amazing. Thank you for doing that. And we can't wait to have you on the show again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. All right, folks, we've come to the end of this particular segment. We're going to be right back with another subject matter expert. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Do you have diabetes? If you have insurance, you may qualify for a new continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends, spend more time in range, significantly lower your A1C, and share important data with loved ones and caregivers. Most importantly, CGM eliminates the one thing most people with diabetes hate: painful finger sticks. Take charge of your health. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you use insulin and have seen your diabetes care provider within the last 6 months, you may qualify for a CGM today. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances cover continuous glucose monitors, so don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call the CGM Health Hotline now.
Hey folks, welcome back to Biz Talk. In case you are just now tuning in, my name is Ray Gutierrez. I'm your host and your business advocate, and we have an amazing lineup of business professionals, business owners that have been in business for quite some time, and we have someone who's been in the show before, and she is now back again because we had a great conversation the first time, so why not continue that conversation? Jen Potter with Epic 47. Welcome back to the show, ma'am.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Absolutely. So we had a great conversation last time that you were here. It's your journey, your resume is pretty impressive, and so we're just going to continue to have some conversations about that. But something more particular about this, segment that I kind of want to cover, and that is basically empowering women in entrepreneurs towards, mentorship and community. So what do you say we get a little bit into that so that we can showcase to our viewers your expertise at that level?
I love it. It's my forte, so I'm here for it.
Absolutely. So you've been, a strong advocate for supporting and mentoring women entrepreneurs. How do you see mentorship impacting the growth and success of women-led businesses?
I think, empowering women to do something, or anything for that matter, I think is so important. I feel like I came from the generation where a lot of women were very catty. So when I first started, my business journey, I felt like it was really hard to kind of break into that. And I have been since impressed with so many amazing women and the community that we have all created together, about, helping each other grow in business, whether they're in business or starting a business or work for a business. Every single woman that I work with and around, it's been absolutely incredible to watch the community grow and watch women empower other women.
Yeah, I think you are doing some amazing work. Um, Women-led businesses is something that we need more of because I think, you know, women are the backbone, in my particular opinion, of this country. There's one particular area here in Houston, believe it or not, it's called the Greater Heights. And in the Greater Heights, 80% of the businesses in the Greater Heights are women-owned businesses. And so it is incredible. It is amazing how that community, that area of Houston has completely changed and developed. And so we see a lot of great positive things, which is just incredible. And I'm just an advocate for that. And I just want more of that because it's a really great thing. So with Epic 47 and other ventures, how have you created a community where women feel like they have someone in their corner helping them throughout? I mean, was it a little bit of a challenge at first, or did you find it to where, people were open to you putting this together?
So they were open. So my first bigger business was a women's inspirational apparel line. So that kind of started that conversation. But prior to that, a lot of things that I did in the community was for women and mothers. So it kind of went hand in hand. And then when I started my babysitting company, surprisingly, 99% of the people that apply to be a babysitter is a woman. So 99% of my company was women ran. And so, that kind of just happened on its own. Like I have hired thousands of women over the past several years. And when I started my cleaning company, every person that applied was a woman. And it's absolutely insane. When I started these businesses, all of these women just started applying. It was never my full intention. Being a woman business owner, it wasn't my intention because I'm like, whoever applies, wants to do it. And then I started making it more of my focus. I actually created a women's empowerment conference. And I started that with two of my other friends who are both in business. And we did that so we could also bring more of the community together. And we work simultaneously with other women in other organizations to just continue to create and collaborate. And one of the companies that we talked about on a previous segment, that I'm currently in an NDA with, we're actually starting a women ran part of the company in a very male dominated industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an amazing journey to, you said a women empowered conference, which, kind of goes into my next question for you. And that is, certain factors need to be considered when you are being a mentor and or coaching another entrepreneur. What do you think those factors should be? Because there's got to be some viewers out there that are potentially thinking about going into business and doing what you do, right? And coaching others and mentoring others. What would be some of those factors that should be considered when mentoring somebody else?
Oh, that's a great question. I think, like you said, having the knowledge of a business you know, be an expert in that business so you can better mentor someone else. Mentoring is actually something that I love doing. And I love doing it because I feel that it's not just me giving advice. I have to take my own advice. So if I'm going to tell somebody to do something, I better be doing it as well. So I think the accountability piece is really big. So if you're going to mentor someone, make sure that you're doing the same thing that you're advising. And I think if you are doing that, you're only going to help other people that much more. And at the same time, your business is going to grow because the advice that you're giving is working, right? Because if you're giving
Mhm.
crappy advice and, you're not listening to it and you're doing something completely different, it's not going to work for either group or either party.
Right.
And I think, you also want to remember that if you are giving advice, that it is, there, it does come with some type of experience or education, because if you don't have experience or education in a field, it could potentially hurt somebody else in business.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. So when you are mentoring someone else, how do you ensure that your advice is actionable and effective for them to put into place in their practice and their business?
um Repeat that one more time. Maybe my brain didn't fully process it.
Yeah, so when you are, working towards mentoring someone, right, and
Yeah.
or working with someone, um, how do you ensure that your advice to them is going to be like really actionable items that they can, start working right away and become really effective, for them? When those things are become so actionable, how do you ensure that these folks or that you are mentoring are actually going to take your actionable, items for them to do and put them to work?
That's great. So thank you. So first and foremost, my first word of advice to everybody is don't listen to anyone else's advice. But if you're still listening, then I'm going to give you what I would do, and then you need to make the decision whether or not it's something that's going to work for you in
Right.
your business. Because if you have a vision and maybe your vision isn't fully working and you do need to make some changes, I'm going to give you some suggestions on how you can change that to better grow your company. But if it doesn't feel comfortable, my first, word of advice, don't listen to my advice. But if it's something that you feel like you could actually work with and grow with, I think that, taking my advice could help, right? And if you're working with someone, I try to give them really clear, simple steps. I don't say, hey, do these 10 things. I say, hey, we're going to work on this. Let's start with step one. If step one feels comfortable, next week we're going to get to step two. If you don't do step one next week, we're going to repeat step one. And if that didn't work, we're going to, figure out a way to kind of change it and evolve from it. But I think it's just constantly holding them accountable, but then they have to also hold themselves accountable. So when I work with people, I actually tell my potential clients, like I have them take an intake. I won't necessarily take on just anybody. If you're not willing to work harder than me and I'm willing to put 110% into your business, then you're someone who I'm not willing to work with. So you have to show to me that you're willing to work with me, which is why I even do an intake to begin with, because I want to see what people are actually going to fill out.
Yeah. That reminds me of the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot force them to drink the water, right? But in this particular case, what you are doing is you're saying, hey, these are the items, the actions that have been prioritized that need to take these particular steps. And they
Right.
need to hold themselves accountable along with you holding them accountable along the way. But essentially, it is up to them to ensure that those actionable items are being done either on a weekly or monthly, quarterly, however, goals, you set in place for those. But you're correct. It is something that they need to know that it's something that they're going to do. We're coaches, we are advocates, and we're business professionals, business owners, but we're not going to do it for you. Plain and simple. That's pretty
Absolutely.
much it.
And that's hard, right? Because people are like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I'm paying you for this, so therefore, you should be helping me do this. No, I'm going to guide you and I'm going to help you to grow. But as a business owner, like we said before, it's not for the faint of heart. We work really hard and you have to be willing to put that in order to grow. And then when it starts growing, then you can kind of step back a little and reevaluate how you're doing things. But I think it's really important to know that in order to do it, you have to work hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jim, we've got a couple of minutes in this segment. Before we go, I would like to give you an opportunity to showcase a story of a successful business that you were able to help, that where your knowledge, your expertise played a pivotal role in their success.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have one client who has been in their field for a very long time. And they, over the past several years, they came to me and they said, "Hey, I'm really good at this. I have a really thriving business and I don't like it. I don't want to do it anymore. How can you help me find what I want to do?" And it was through a lot of trial and error, but also a lot of exploration and trying to figure out, hey, you were able to run a successful business. What can we do in order to find something that you really want to do? And it came to mind because it was just this week that I just got a message from this person and they said, you changed my life. And I'm like, I didn't change your life. You changed your own life. But you listened to me, you let me help guide you. And, they're doing something that's a complete 180 from what they were doing before, but they are so happy. And their response to me was, I never thought that I'd be able to get paid to do what I'm doing and be happy, making the same money that I was making doing another big time business. And this was a very big business. It was very, a lot of money came through this other company. They did this 180 to do another business, and they're still successful because we took that skeleton that we talked about in our previous segment and, of a business, and said we can replicate that to do something that you really want to do. And when you have passion in a business, I think that that's what really helps you to grow and thrive, because if you don't like doing it, it's not going to grow.
Right.
And that's important.
Yep, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. But as we always mention, time runs out and time goes way too fast because we had another great conversation. But before we go, I want to thank you for being here and sharing your expertise and your knowledge and that story, which it's amazing to get those type of accolades when you see others thrive and they mention those type of things. You feel like you're going in the right direction yourself as well as too. So before we go, I want to give you a quick, I want to showcase how folks can get in touch with you so they can, contact you and potentially do business with you.
Absolutely. So the easiest way to get a hold of me is if you go into Google or any search engine and just put in Jen Live Your Best Life, it will pop right up. You can also search for Epic 47, and all of the other businesses and all the things that I'm working on will pop right up. So Jen, Live Your Best Life. Easy peasy.
Awesome. That's pretty simple. Jen, thank you again for being here, and I'm sure we'll have some more episodes with you, but it's unfortunate these segments kind of go by really quick when the conversation is really great. So thank you again for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, we've come to the end of this particular segment. We'll be right back with another subject matter expert. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Hey folks, welcome back to Biz Talk. Thank you for tuning in or staying tuned in. My name is Rick Gutierrez. In case you're just now tuning in, I am your business advocate and your host for Biz Talk. And we've got another amazing entrepreneur, business professional, business owner that's been in the world of finance for a very, very long time. And she is my very good friend, Miss Nora with Nora's Books. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Rick. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a few weeks since we had a conversation, so I figured it was time. We were due to have another conversation in the world of finance, particularly bookkeeping for nonprofits and for business, for-profit businesses as well. And so we thought we'd bring you back in so we can continue those conversations.
Awesome. Ready
All
to
right.
dive in.
So I have a particular question for you because a lot of our viewers and or clients that are in the nonprofit sectors, there are many different challenges that nonprofits go through, but you've seen a good amount of those challenges that they go through. So let's talk about the most common challenges that you've seen and how you and your team at Norris Books face those challenges and create creative solutions for the nonprofits.
Sure. So most nonprofits, whenever you ask them, like they say, we need funding. We need funding, we need funding, and then they don't have that funding, so they don't want to think about anything else. Another challenge is they stay out of compliance because they do not think about filing taxes. They do not think about doing bookkeeping or any of this compliance stuff. So this is when we started educating people about you need to tap into your individual donors, and individual donors is one of the area I focus on along with my team to teach people on how to get those individual donations from people instead of just going after corporation grants, all of the other stuff that hard to get, takes longer, and most likely if they do not have a good foundation, they're not going to get. So in order to make it much easier for people, like I have a lot of content on YouTube, Norris Books YouTube, and also I have upcoming challenge because we are coming into Giving Tuesday, which is the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving. That's when people look for nonprofits to donate to them online. So I have a challenge coming up for people to join, and I will teach them everything from running a campaign, the strategy behind running the campaign, and what should they focus on in order to have a successful Giving Tuesday campaign. So this is one of the things and one of the tools that we have for nonprofits to help them overcome the challenge of raising fund and always have fund available for them no matter what the situation in the economy or anything. Also for compliance, we have a lot of education around that. So people, we have a lot of also clients who comes for CFO services, not only bookkeeping, because we offer like high level services as well to make sure they have the knowledge, they have everything, like their numbers. Like if they are a nonprofit, doesn't mean they don't have to care about their numbers. They have to care about their numbers because this way they know when do they need to go hard on fundraising, what do they need, when they can hire, if they need to fire or anything. So they have to know their numbers. So we get them into advocacy. It depends on where they are at their nonprofits. So, and also we took it a step further because very few tax professionals or accountants would like to work or know how to work with nonprofits because there's very, very few knowledge over there about how to work with nonprofits in terms of taxes, bookkeeping, CFO, anything with nonprofit numbers. So we do have some classes. So I have a class for tax professionals on how to do the 990, which is the tax form for nonprofits. So we are training people also to be able to work with nonprofit because technically Norris Books cannot serve all people, all nonprofits. We have more than almost 2 million actually nonprofits in the US. So we need more people to work with nonprofits, help them stay in compliance.
Absolutely, and we commend you for that because we know that a lot of nonprofits really do great work to be of service to others, and some of those, even children and elderly, and many great nonprofit organizations out there. Let me ask you a similar question, but now for-profit businesses, because sometimes for-profit businesses have a difficult time balancing, being financially stable, but also trying to grow their business, right? And so I know that you guys have particular strategies that you can help for-profit businesses to achieve these successes, right?
Absolutely. So the worst thing any business owners can do is do their own accounting. They think they will save money doing their own accounting, but in fact they are draining themselves, because no one likes number unless you like number, right? You like numbers. But even if you are in your business, you like numbers, accounting is so much different, and we have a hard time sometimes explaining to people, like, this is like when they see the balance sheet or the profit and loss, that doesn't make sense to them because they use Excel sheets. Well, accounting is different, and what's acceptable and GAAP, general accepted accounting principle, is different than what the average person who did not go to accounting school or did not learn accounting do. So a lot of people don't know that. So what they do when they do their own bookkeeping or be their own CFO, they are draining themselves. They're losing a lot of money, because losing money, not only the money that you are paying as an expenses, losing money, like if you could make $1 million and you only make 500K, that you're losing 500K.
Right.
But you're draining yourself. So by taking something that you shouldn't be taking the responsibility for, and most likely you're doing it wrong. So when they come to us, we have to fix everything, and it's the end of the day, it's gonna cost a lot more, and it's gonna cost a lot of pain, decision burning, decision, like wrong decisions. So wrong decisions, they could have like saved them a lot more when they actually got a professional to do their bookkeeping, not just volunteer, because like volunteer is not going to be like probably like having good accounting, because not everyone can do bookkeeping or accounting. So what we do, we take that burden away from our clients so that they can focus on running the business, on growing the business, because this is what any entrepreneur should be doing, running and growing the business, and delegate everything else for other people. Delegation is one of the leadership skills that actually the lack of that can cost people their business. That's why a lot of business don't go more than 2, 3, 5 years max. Very few business go further than that.
Yeah. So I'm excited that you actually touched on the fact that they really are losing not only the time that they're spending on doing a job that they're not, that's not their forte, but they're also losing from them being able to go out and do what they're really great at, which is potentially sales or generating revenue or things like that. I had another question for you, but I think this is such a subject that I would like your perspective on, Nora, because you're in the numbers world, right? You're in the numbers game. And one of the things that I like to showcase to our members from our networking groups is, we have to really think about what is the value of your time. Do you know your hourly rate? You may have a salary that you pay yourself. You may have some pricing for your services or your products. But the reality is that for every single minute or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, which all adds up, if you don't know the value of your hourly rate, you could potentially end up giving away more time or using your time doing things that are not best for your business or for you. So can you share from your perspective how much potentially a business owner is losing by focusing on things that there's not really their strong suit, and they should focus on what they're really good at?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna give an example, just like a fake example, but it's in really real world. So let's say if you are closing a client, you're getting $1,000. I'm gonna use just simple numbers for simplicity.
Right.
So your hour is, if you're talking to a client now and you can make it for $1,000, that is $1,000. So your hour probably $1,000. So if you are going to do the accounting, for example, do the marketing, do everything that is not necessarily someone else can do it for you. Count how many $1,000 are you losing. For example, if your day only you are selling one client because that's the time that you spend in money generating activity, so that's $1,000. You're doing everything else. Let's say your day is 8 hours. So that's you're losing $7,000 because you're doing something else. When you know your hourly rate, and this is not the 150 that you are comfortable to do. This is not that. Like I said, like if you're selling someone, or if you want to go buy it for someone from someone, your activity, your expertise, your everything, that's going to be in that value. Even if you are not comfortable to charge that much, you maybe need to raise your prices, but you want to evaluate it like this. Okay, this is how much the value of what I am doing based on my expertise, based on how much I'm saving the clients, how much I am saving them on that and on paying money on, or how much value I am giving to them. So if I am not giving, if I'm not getting like that same amount of value of the hours I'm spending working in my business, I am losing this $1,000 every single hour, sometimes every minute. So that's become very costly. Like if you just like do it per day and then per year, like it can be hundreds of thousands of dollars based, depending on the business and the value that you are providing. So yeah, you want to be very careful with that.
And thank you for showcasing that, because that is something that, believe it or not, I come across that a lot, and I talk about that topic a lot. We're always working towards making sure that our customer service skills are to the best that they can be, right? And taking care of our clients, supporting them. But we fail to realize that our time is very valuable, right? And so if a client requires additional care or additional assistance or things like that, that needs to be compensated, because you're right. If we continue to give and give and give to make the client happy, which is we always strive for, the client, if it's a really good client, they would also understand that your time is valuable and they would want to compensate you for it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I think about it like this, because like when I first started my business, and this is also a work in progress, because I think, oh no, I can't charge like that. And then I realized if you don't charge well and get well compensated, you cannot provide the quality of service that you are expecting yourself to deliver, and the client will be angry. But and the first of you did not charge them well, so you can compensate them on. You cannot pay your self, you cannot pay your team, you cannot provide the softwares and everything that's going to help you provide a quality service. So it's actually the clients in a client benefit to charge them well, so you can serve them better.
Absolutely. Well, hey, this was a great conversation. Thank you for being on the show again. It's always a great time having and learning from you as well. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed the time with you here.
Yeah, as well. I always have a great conversation with you as well. So, folks, we have come to the end of this particular segment. We're going to be right back with another guest. Stay right there.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. Make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen, can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Hey folks, welcome back to Biz Talks. In case you are just now tuning in, my name is Rick Gutierrez. I'm your host and your business advocate. We are having an amazing time filming this show for this particular week. We have an amazing time every single week because they're great conversations with great entrepreneurs, great business owners, great business professionals that are in business or have been in business and have tons of knowledge and they want to share it with us. So this particular episode, no different. We are going to have an amazing conversation with someone who has been in the show before and is all about, I call him Mr. AI myself. So he is the subject matter expert when it comes to everything innovation through AI. And so Dr. Alan Badeau, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Rick. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. I think we always have great conversations, and just right now, off of the off script or off the behind the cameras, we were talking about a particular subject that we're going to be covering in the upcoming weeks, and I cannot wait for that. But this week, there's a great conversation to be had about the transformation that businesses are going through, through driving innovation and growth through AI, and so. In business, it's amazing how far AI has come. We all know that, but it's just more impressive when you are able to walk into the business and you've got a lot more innovation and got a lot more transformation when it comes to how clients, customers are being taken care of with their ordering and all of those great things. I mean, one of those examples, Dr. Badeau, I don't know if you've seen, but there are some fast food chains that are putting in place some restaurants that are completely zero employees, all automation. It's incredible. Yeah. They're not all over the place just yet, but they are having some pilot stores that are they're having those type of services, and so who knows what the future holds in that, but I think it's going to be pretty bright. But anyways, we wanted to talk about transforming many industries. AI has come a long ways, as we mentioned. It's transforming a lot of industries. What specific innovations do you see within AI in the next 3 to 5 years that you are really excited about? So you're the expert in AI, so you know what's here right now, and you know what's in the works behind the scenes. How much more evolved will AI be within 3 to 5 years?
Well, Rick, that's a great question. I think, at least as I am looking at things, and even, the stuff that I'm doing right now, large language models, they're great, like ChatGPT and things like that. But, we are almost at a point where we are maxing out what their capabilities are, just because, you can't keep building bigger and bigger computers. Well, I guess we can, but it becomes, just financially sound in some cases. And so, you've got to start to look at other fields of AI. So you start to think about neuromorphics. You start to think about transforming with other technologies that are out there that go beyond large language models. There's anywhere from 200 to 300, depending on how you define it, different subfields of AI. And large language models is a small piece of that, but it's so exciting. And what it's been able to do over the last few years, that's what everybody has been focusing on. Once we hit that max, then it'll be time for other types of AI to start to come forward, especially if we have a few breakthroughs around, some of the quantum stuff that we're working on, and those other technologies that are going to accelerate that. And those are the biggest things that I'm looking at. Neuromorphics, I'm exceptionally excited about because there are a lot of really neat things that it can do to go beyond what large language models can do, because it starts to model the brain and the neurons in there and how it communicates and how it passes information back and forth, and being able to get a real working neuromorphic capability would be unbelievable for what we're trying to do, not only in healthcare but really across the spectrum. And again, that would be another type of AI revolution that would impact an awful lot of things. Maybe not quite as many as the large language models and ChatGPT type, activities, but at least it would be a lot of them. And then, we're going to consistently see that as we have highs and lows in, some fields. We're going to have other highs and lows in the other AI fields that are going to start to step up and take their place. So, there's a lot of things that are taking, shape right now. And 3 to 5 years is actually a really long time now for AI, and trying to project those. So maybe 3 to 6 months, that might be a little bit of a different, discussion, because that's how quickly these things are changing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't disagree that 3 to 6 months is probably a better question, but here's the reason why I asked about the 3 to 5 years. And just to give you an idea, and I know that you probably have seen this because we've had conversations behind the scenes in this particular topic, but Elon Musk and Tesla SpaceX just captured a rocket from, out of the air, right? So there's a lot of innovation there. The other one is that Tesla just released their Optimus AI robot that is being now on, it's now for sale. I think the price point on one of those robots is like $30K or something like that. But it's supposed to do a lot of that and have a lot of animations and a lot of things that are going to be able to help not only on the home front, but in business, in manufacturing. I would imagine that some of these robots, we already have robots in manufacturing, but we're talking about like almost humanoids, if you would, that are going to be doing a lot of the task in the workplace as well. So that's the reason why I asked about it 3 to 5 years, because if they've just released those now, I'm wondering what that's going to look like in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and I think really the horizon is really only limited by how far our ideas can take us. As we are seeing, even with these ChatGPT models and large language models across the board, they are doing some exceptional things, but in the end, it still comes down to what the human is able to do versus what the the bot itself is able to do. And as we get more mature in these things, then we're going to do a lot better around coupling those two. And if we can do that significantly better, then that's where we're going to really shine. And that's where the AI is going to shine, because that intermingling between humans and robots and AI and robots is only going to get stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't disagree there. That's another great topic, maybe for another segment of another show. But let's go back to Harmonic AI. You guys are helping businesses integrate AI solutions that not only boost productivity, but also foster long-term innovation and creativity, right? So how are you guys helping these businesses implement these AIs? I mean, are these folks that are open to having these new pieces of softwares integrated, or are they being a little resistant in implementing this new AI technology?
The nice thing about the commercial side is that they're coming to us looking for ideas, right? We're not trying to sell, ideas like in the past where we would think, oh, here's a contract with the government or something like that. Let's try to do some things. And then it takes you a little while to get through the process and those kind of things. On the commercial side, of course, they can move a lot faster, and they are seeing what their competition can do, and that scares them. And, they think that, okay, no, I may be number 2 right now, but geez, in 6 months I could be number 7, or, in a year I could not even be in the top 10. And those are the things that are actually driving a lot of their decisions that they're making. Now, the first thing that we do, though, when we go in and we talk to folks, we're always trying to get them to think as a team. Think about, okay, what's your strategic plan? Do you have a strategic plan? Because if you don't have a strategic plan, then putting AI in there isn't going to fix things. It's not going to help things, because you still have to have an idea on the direction that you want your enterprise to go. And so we always start with some foundational things on, what do you want to do? Where do you go? What do you want the customers to experience? And then when we get through those 3 questions, then we start to try to say, now let's take a step back. Let's see what some of the best tools are. Let's pick some of the best folks on your team that are willing to take a chance, that are willing and accepting of, looking at using AI to, accelerate the work that they're doing, and then going from there. Because, the last thing that you want to do as a business owner is drive something down your employees' throats, right? Because, there's going to be resistance. I've seen it a lot. There's going to be challenges, and you're going to have your naysayers that no matter what you bring in, something's not going to work. And so you've really got to get buy-in. You've got to get, that kind of, acceptance and willingness to change how they're doing work, and how you're, expecting them to do work with AI. And that's where I've seen companies be the most successful, where, if you're a one-person army who's trying to drive it into your organization, and you are, don't have any kind of support, that's usually not a good result.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's something that's always going to be evolving and moving forward, because we're not definitely going back to the way things were, especially with with what we're
here. It's on.
Yeah, and what's available right now, it's come such a long ways that I just can't see us going backwards. We've got a couple of minutes. Maybe you can answer this last question that I have for you, but I'm sure there are some industries out there that are not only using AI for productivity and creativity, but they're also using it to leverage it as far as like on a competitive, to have a competitive edge, if you would. Right. So what industries do you feel are taking more advantage, or using that leverage for staying ahead of their competitors?
Yeah, if you think about the amount of data and information that's out there, social media companies really kickstarted the whole e-commerce. Let's track our customers. Let's get as much information as we can, and then put a product in front of them. It's interesting because I'm probably going to get some hate mail on this. I'm a Yankee fan. Sorry, Astros, but I am a Yankee fan. My wife is not. We were talking about it, and then, of course, a Yankee ad popped up on her cell phone, and that's not coincidence, right? I mean, the realities are they're tracking those kind of things. E-commerce is the same thing, where the more information that you can get about your customers, then of course the better products, and the greater depth of understanding and how they buy is really going to drive sales in some cases. Again, why do we have pumpkin lattes at the end of August? Well, it's because some AI or some data analyst that was using machine learning was able to say at a certain coffee company that why are we not selling it earlier when we have such a demand in the fall, right? And so those are the kind of things that are really driving that supply chain, again, logistics, knocking it out of the park with a lot of those things. But they are starting to couple more technology like distributed ledgers and blockchain to even further what AI can do. And that's where I think it's going to be really exciting as we start to see these couplings of other technologies with AI and the user. My goodness, that in 3 to 5 years, Rick, we'll look back and we'll think, holy cow, how did we survive with those kind of devices, right?
All I know is that there's going to be a lot more pumpkin spice lattes being sold 3 to 5 years from now.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Anyways, we've come to the end of this segment. I want to thank you for being on the show again. It's always a great conversation, and I appreciate you, showcasing your expertise and not only yours, but everyone over at Harmonic